Hi everyone! In this tutorial, we'll explore how to use FashionGen to create textures for your 3D apparel and save them as CC cloth for later use. With FashionGen, you can design clothing in a variety of styles, thanks to its AI tools and multiple models tailored for different needs. It not only saves you a lot of time, but also makes it easier to achieve the results you want. FashionGen lets you quickly create new clothes and enhance the look and details of existing clothing models. First, let's go over the transfer of clothing to FashionGen and the UI basics. Open the Content Manager to find the FashionGen free resources under Material. After install, you'll see basic fabric, pattern, and decals ready for use with FashionGen. Also, remember to install the Fabric 100 Content Pack for 50 different fabric and 50 patterns. Then we can apply all the clothing items from the Content Manager. Or you can purchase SmartCloth from the Reallusion Content Store. In addition to PBR textures, SmartCloth items include several color masks that you can distribute different materials into clothing with different styles. In the Content Store, you'll notice many items marked with the SmartCloth icon. Then you can purchase and use it in FashionGen. Once you apply a SmartCloth in Character Creator, we can take a look at the PBR textures in the Material panel. Notice how the Resource Map section contains the Color ID mask. The SmartCloth pack also provides different color ID masks for you to choose from. Next, select the clothing and click the FashionGen button to open the dialog window. Notice how the clothing, mesh, and materials are named according to this article of clothing. We also have the option to transfer the clothing based on the current texture resolution. You can also choose lower resolutions if performance is a concern. We'll explain the use of the Auto Mask FashionGen Layer option after explaining the use of Color ID masking tutorial. By clicking the Edit in FashionGen button, we can launch the FashionGen application and send the clothing into its viewport. A message will pop up reminding you to keep the edited clothing in the CC to avoid a transfer failure. The toolbar will automatically be set to Pan mode, letting us use the mouse to move the apparel. We can also click on Zoom mode to change the viewing distance. Use the Orbit mode to spin the object around. Hotkeys in the lower right corner allow for quick adjustments of the object's position and angle. Next, we can click the Front button in the toolbar to view the clothing from the front. We can also spin it right, left, or back, and these functions are available via hotkeys as well. By clicking on Rotate Light, we can spin the scene lighting. This lets us examine the model from different lighting angles. Different lighting presets provide various lighting temperatures and angles. Next, we can freely adjust the layout, resize windows, or lay them side by side. By clicking Window near the top, we can also remove panels we are not using. Notice how all textures used on this piece of clothing appear in the texture editor. Once we click Window Resource Map, we can view all the resource maps imported with the model. We can also switch the material channel for different textures. And there's an option to switch to 2D viewing mode as well. Let's now go over the basic workflow. First, open the resource pack to view the many materials inside. We can drag these materials onto the clothing to apply, or drag them into the layer editor for application. We can adjust the layer order as we like, and even hide layers. Now we can adjust the texture of the fabric. Click on Base Color and enable the Tint option to change the coloring. Before adjusting the normal, switch the material channel to the normal. We can adjust the normal strength, tiling to make the normal pattern smaller or larger, offset to adjust the position. Finally, switch back to the general material channel to view the final results. The roughness and metallic maps also work in unison. By spinning the lights, we can check their contribution to the visuals. If you don't want the material to affect the entire clothing, we can use the Color ID as the mask. First, switch to the Color ID material channel and check the distribution of the Color ID mask. Next, click the color mask in the Layer Manager and select a specific ID of the color mask. And we can adjust the base color to suit the apparel. We can also right-click on a target layer to duplicate it and switch out the color ID to mask different regions. Of course, we can apply a pattern to add more details, including tiling, color mask selection, and base color selection. Finally, we can choose different blend modes as needed. Because several layers contribute to the look of the same regions, we can group them under one parent layer. This cleans up the Layer Manager and makes it easier to work with. However, stacking more layers over time can impact performance. To optimize, we can right-click and choose Merge Layer to flatten all layers into one. Then we can also apply basic adjustments. Inside the free resource pack, besides having many materials, there are many decals available as well. We can scale the decal, offset it to move it around, and use the Texture Transform feature to adjust the decal directly in the viewport. We can also adjust the base color to match the coloring and style of the clothing. Roughness and metallic of the decal can be adjusted. Beside the Adjust the Normal Strength, we can also adjust the normal settings. If we want the decal to have an inlay, we can enable the Y-axis option. By enabling bevel and adjusting its strength and smooth settings, we can enhance the normal borders. Notice the difference before and after the effects. By adjusting the lighting, we can clearly see the concavity and convexity of the decal. Now let's look at how to apply custom image and use the stamp tool. First, prepare a PNG image and drag it onto the clothing. Then adjust the scale and offset to place it where you want, or using the transformer tools to adjust in the viewport. Since this is an external image, it won't come with normal or PBR maps. To fix that, click Generate Normal to convert the base color into a normal map. Then fine-tune the normal strength and other settings. Remember that normal maps generated from larger images will have higher resolution. Next, click Generate PBR to create the metallic and roughness maps for further adjustment. Besides dragging in a custom image, you can also use the Stamp tool. Click Load Image and choose an image to stamp. The cursor will change to that image. You can adjust the stamp's scale, rotation, and flip. Clicking on the model places the stamp, and it will also create a new layer. Since the Stamp tool uses texture projection, remember to zoom in before applying it to achieve better resolution. You can swap the stamp image anytime. Each use creates a new layer automatically. If you end up with too many layers, simply disable Create New Layer, and all stamps will then be added to the same layer, making it easier to manage. Now it's time to transfer the finished clothing back into Character Creator. First, click Send Texture to CC near the top left corner with Keep Layer enabled. After the transfer completes, the textures will appear in Character Creator. All layers will be baked into the same set of textures. Then save the cloth as a CC cloth to save all the layer information. We can apply the cloth to the different character and send back to the FashionGen. All layer data will still be preserved. Due to the multiple layers, the CC cloth file size will be larger. To reduce file size, you can flatten all layers before sending the clothing to character creator. You can choose to keep the existing texture resolution. Click Send, then texture will be transferred to CC. You can see that the Keep Layer file size is significantly larger than Flatten, as it retains layer information and is suitable for re-editing. If no further editing is required, choosing Flatten can reduce the file size, making it more efficient for animation editing and other subsequent workflows. We can also choose to upscale the texture to 4K. For upscaling, make sure to connect to Comfy UI before transferring the textures. Back in Character Creator, you'll see that all the textures are now upgraded to 4K resolution. By using FashionGen, we can quickly create custom clothing and send the finished look back to Character Creator, where it can be saved as a reusable CC cloth. In the next tutorial, we'll explore the AI generation tools. By combining different AI functions, or even using text prompts, we can rapidly enhance the clothing's variety, quality, and detail. Thanks for watching.